This is Impact Wrestling, Eddie Edwards, and you're watching Media Spotlight UK, where AIP, anything is possible.
Hi, you're watching Media Spotlight UK. I'm Lozz, and I'm here with Impact Wrestling superstar, Eddie Edwards.
Happy to be here.
Eddie, you doing good today?
Doing good, enjoying this beautiful British weather. And I'm not even saying it sarcastically today, which is nice.
Yeah, we actually are enjoying superstar weather. Super sunny outside. We've had a great few days. Been super nice. Eddie, you're an extremely accomplished pro wrestler. Former TNA champion, 2 times X Division champion, 5 times tag team champion. You are the first ever Ring of Honor Triple Crown champion. Mm. If you haven't done the maths properly, Eddie's also Triple Crown TNA Impact champion as well.
Add it up. And
globe-trotted as well. So more recently with things in TNA, you've had a lot of big stuff. Redemption 18 was just gone. We were looking at the Sami Callihan situation. Now I know that you've probably been asked about this a lot, but we wanted just to check on a lowdown about that, see how you're feeling. How are you?
I'm doing good. You know, after the baseball incident, my eye has actually healed up nicely. No permanent damage, luckily. Just a couple of scars and a little bit of bruising here and there, but overall pretty good. And so after the Redemption pay-per-view, I feel good. Being able to beat up Sami Callihan with a kendo stick that's always a good time in my book. Unfortunately, the wife Alicia fell victim to one as well, but I would like to brush over that.
No doubt, yeah. It must be quite a traumatic experience for you to be going through. One of the things that we noticed was that it did get a little bit of press over here in the UK, and I wanted to ask you, how have you been feeling with the fact that such a big momentous incident, obviously not a great one, but even still, how does it feel having a lot of people talking about you, writing about you in those kind of ways? People that people that you know very well, people that you haven't, maybe you speak to often, and people that you haven't spoken to. How's that left you?
It's making the best out of a bad situation, really. You know what I mean? It just kind of a freak accident happened. It kind of fell into our laps, and we would be dumb if we didn't try to take advantage. Especially with, like you said, it's got a lot of attention, and once the bad incident aired, it blew up. The Twitter timeline, and everybody texting and tweeting, and people attacking Sami, people just everything. It blew up. So, luckily with no long-term damage or anything, it's like, hey, let's make the best out. Let's run with it.
I saw that you guys were going back and forward with some videos and whatnot. And then also, one of the things that I noticed was that a very good friend of yours, Jim Cornette, I saw one of his interviews, and he was very fiery about it, very passionate about it.
That's Jim. Very passionate. I mean, he's very passionate about wrestling in general, and we are good friends. And he worked at Ring of Honor when I was there, and he took care of me. And I've always respected Jim, and so I understand. I appreciate him being fired up over it. I appreciate him having my back.
Shows that passion, especially for individuals as well.
It's nice to know that, it's nice to know when things go down and stuff happens that, people that, I don't talk to Jim a lot, but to know that he still thinks about me that way, still considers me one of his guys, one of his friends, that means a lot to me.
Yeah, that's why I asked you the question, because it must have been kind of weird, all of a sudden people coming out the woodwork, everyone throwing an opinion left, right and centre at you, you know, and then obviously, you're sitting back thinking, I'm just, I'm doing this, I'm the victim here. I took a bit, a bit of the heat from that.
Yeah, it was, and because it happened in January, the original incident happened in January, but it didn't air until a couple months later, so it was like this new wave. Originally happened, people heard about it and reached out and got in touch. Yeah. But then when it aired, that was everybody saw it. Yeah, so then that was a whole new level at that point.
Worldwide, no doubt. Yeah. You're not a stranger to being worldwide for sure. How have you felt with things? There's been some altercations and interaction with Tommy Dreamer. Mm-hmm. He's been involved. How are you feeling about that?
It's been a cool. It's been a unique opportunity for me because I was an ECW fan, and I am a Tommy Dreamer fan. So to grow up watching him and stuff like that, and now being able to do it in the ring with him and do stuff with him, and him trying to help me and give me words of wisdom and advice and stuff, it's a pretty cool thing for me. Behind the scenes for so long, Tommy has been very much like he's being portrayed on TV. He has been that guy that not just for me, but for a lot of people, but in this instance, speaking for myself, that he is that guy that has always offered up advice for me. He's always been a guy that I can go to and ask his opinion. He'll give me the straight out, the flat out truth. He'll tell you this sucks and do this better, and you know what I mean. And that's what you need. So it's cool now to be doing it on TV and showing the world what he actually does do behind the scenes, and try to, you know, he tries to watch out for me. And sometimes it's annoying, much like on TV. Sometimes in backstage it's annoying, but sometimes it's not, you know.
Oh, that's good. Good to know that he's a good mentor
yes.
for yourself and for others behind the scenes. So going forward, are you still going to continue to have some issues with Sami and the OVE guys, or?
Yeah, I mean, the stuff with Sami is far from over.
Yeah.
You know, I won't. Basically, I'm not going to stop until he's finished. He's ended. That's when this will end. And we have a lot of unique stuff going forward, and with this whole situation, with the violence that this has brought on, we're getting a chance to kind of push the envelope. You know what I mean? We're pushing the limits for TV wise and pro wrestling wise, because the world itself, including pro wrestling right now, is so PG. You know, so this is an opportunity for Impact and for us specifically to say, well, we're gonna get violent. It's gonna get intense, and at times it's gonna be uncomfortable. That's right, but it's coming from true emotion. It's not just violence for the sake of violence.
Gratuitous. It's actually for, you know, there's real needs here.
Yes, there's emotion behind it, and people understand that. He tried to end my career. He stalked my wife, like stuff that's happened behind the scenes. So it makes sense. Everybody has a breaking point.
Yeah,
of
course.
This is my breaking point. No matter how good of a man you are, everybody has that breaking point. And well, I found mine.
The final straw.
Yeah,
no doubt. And that House of Hardcore match was pretty good. It was, it was intense.
Yes,
saw moves go flying as well. That was something not seen for a while, especially for a man of that size.
Yeah.
Which was pretty impressive. So Eddie, one of the other things I wanted to ask you about was your career's been long-standing. You know, you've been traveling, gaining experience. One of the main things that I'm interested in is you went and did tours of Japan.
Yes.
And you started off doing 2 tours a year. Was that in the 2000s?
Yeah, 2005 was the first time I went over to Japan.
Cool.
And that's when I lived over there for like 5 months out of the year.
So I figured you're the right person to ask this question because you were there for a year. So cultural differences, and I guess had you talked to some of the boys about it before you went over? I mean,
you know, I obviously studied the Japanese product, Japanese wrestling. I studied that and watched that, and you know, just kind of following in people's footsteps, guys that I admired, like a Chris Jericho and Eddie Guerrero and stuff like that, guys that I admired, and I tried to follow along their career. That I wanted to try to go in that same direction. At the time I didn't really know personally too many guys that had been over there, so really it was just kind of like let's go.
Because I'm thinking you're one of I know lots of guys have gone over to Japan and applied their trade and done the work over there, but then we were discussing, we were thinking about the future, and at the moment it seems to be a lot of young guys, indie talent, a lot of talent worldwide is using it as a jump off, a new benchmark to push their careers and progress, rather than, would you agree with me in thinking that in the past sometimes people would say that going to Japan was either a different direction completely to, you know, you wouldn't be able to tie it in with your US work? Or
yeah, I think now with the world of professional wrestling, it's right now I feel like it's booming. You know, obviously UK especially booming. Japan, you know, New Japan and Noah and all Japan. The business of professional wrestling, I feel, is in a good state right now.
Yep.
And it's now because of social media and because of, you know, on demand and different networks and stuff like that, you can see everything. Where before it'd be like you said, kind of go to Japan to kind of help elevate, to take that next step. But now you're able to go there and then make a living, which is it's a whole new
become
time.
a superstar in that country, then move on.
And then move on. So it's a whole new atmosphere right now, which it's a crazy time in the world of professional wrestling.
So being from a generation you are from, and you see these younger guys coming through, how does it make you think and reflect on your own experience when you were doing it? I mean, does it seem like worlds away?
No, you know, it seems like just yesterday. You know what I mean? Like it as long ago as it was, it seems like it just happened. It just makes me very grateful for the opportunities that I've had, because as much as many guys that are getting the chance to, you know, travel and go to Japan, a lot of people aren't, and I'm very lucky to have been given that shot to go over and given the chance to wrestle against so many legends of the Japanese wrestling and the legends of wrestling in general. So, I mean, I'm just very thankful to be able to give them that chance, you know.
Excellent. No, that's really good, Eddie. One of the things I also want to ask you is, in the beginning, when you first went over to Japan, did you try and rebrand Eddie Edwards, or did you go over as Eddie Edwards? You were always 100% Eddie Edwards, or do you like to sort of change your style for the crowds? Or?
You know, at that point, I was new into only a few years in wrestling, so I was still trying to find myself, you know, in general, and trying to find myself in the States. So going over there, I've always been a fan of the Japanese style of wrestling, so that's something that I wanted to be able to incorporate. So by going over there, I was able to learn firsthand the style, firsthand how it goes down, first thing of how it is. So that's how I was able to learn the style and then incorporate it into me. And, you know, it's funny because as much as going to Japan helped my wrestling style, helped me in wrestling, it also helped me grow up as a person, because I was 23 years old when I went over there or whatever, and so to be able to go over there and train in that dojo and stuff, it just helped me grow as a person, and it obviously helped form me to the wrestler I am. So I just wanted to go over there basically like a sponge and just kind of drink it, take it all in, and try to just fully immerse myself in it. And you know, that's why it's still a very important place to me and something that I hold very special to me now.
Nice, no, that's really cool. It's good to know, and I think it's really cool to see a lot of talent moving across the borders. You know, taking different companies to different places. You know, I was checking out Austin Aries the other day, and the guy's got so many belts, and you know, he's obviously representing for so many different places as well. You know, not just TNA Impact Zone, but also, you know, many others as well. And you know, it shows the levels where we can go with growing.
I mean, like, you know, like I'm saying now, it's a crazy time, and one of the great things, the unique things about Impact is the relationships that we have with everybody right now. The relationship with Lucha Underground, Pro Wrestling Noah, AAA, and other independent House of Hardcore and Border City Wrestling. It's all these partnerships that are opening up all these opportunities for everybody. The more opportunities for us, the better, because the more opportunities for the boys, the more opportunities to put the product out there, the more opportunity to promote yourself. That's what it's all about. It's about working. Everybody's working together right now.
People aren't protecting their champion. You know, there's a lot of protection in the past, maybe. And,
before it'd be
don't
more
want to belt on your show.
Yeah, it would be more about, you know, worrying about your product as opposed to trying to help the product of pro wrestling. It'd be like, I'm just worried. People would just be worried about their company and, you know, screw those two. But now it's like, let's work together. You're realizing that working together is a lot easier than trying to destroy somebody else.
That's right, yeah. No, collaboration is always the key, guys. It's always a good way to move forward, especially, you know, considering we can all go together rather than separately and drag behind.
Oh, yes.
One of the things as well, Eddie, I wanted to talk to you about today too was training. You were trained by Killer Kowalski. And I wanted to ask you, from what you grew up training, your wrestling style, to then what you see the young guys doing now, how do you see much differences?
You know, pro wrestling's always evolving. The styles are always changing, and that's what happens. That happens in anything, any sport, any business. It's going to evolve, and that's what's going to happen. But you just want to. Obviously, I see the difference of the way I was trained to the way guys are now, but that's just how it's evolved.
It's the natural progression.
Yeah, natural progression, especially of independent wrestling. Independent wrestling is something all unto itself. It has its own style, independent wrestling. It's a different style than Impact Wrestling. It's a different style than WWE. It's a different style than, you know, Pro Wrestling Noah and anything in Japan. Everything kind of has its own kind of niche, so it's naturally going to keep evolving, and it's going to change. Next year it'll be different. The year after that it's going to be different. But you want to be able to, for myself, I want to be able to work every style and and no matter where I am, I want to be able to adapt, and that's what you have to do. You either adapt and survive, or you get left behind.
So you don't see people like, oh, I wish I was training in that style. You'd actually see someone doing something and be like, oh, you know what, I might get involved with that and do a little bit.
Yeah, you can't be closed-minded.
Yeah.
The more open-minded, the better. So you just want to. That's the good thing about traveling, and like I always wanted to go to Mexico and do a little bit of that. And you have to be able to work everywhere, and you want to be able to kind of chameleon, be able to get in anywhere. If you can wrestle any style against anybody, you're gonna always have a job.
That's right. Yeah. How did you find those crowds in Mexico? Because you guys went over there a little while ago. Is that right?
I went over. Well, me and Davey went over actually a couple years ago. We stayed for like 2 weeks and did a good bunch of shows.
Nice.
Yeah, it was good. It's a different crowd, but there's still a wrestling crowd.
Yeah.
So that you still get the reaction. You're still working for that reactions. They still get into it. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. Pro wrestling is a universal language.
May I ask you where you found the toughest crowd?
It's toughest crowds are.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like, I don't know, country-wise, it depends. I mean, in the States, I've done, small independent shows, and those are obviously sometimes tough shows because, not a lot of people and stuff like that. So it just kind of varies situation to situation.
Cool, okay, sweet. So never turned up to a venue and it's been absolutely, like, dead from the start.
No. I mean, if it's that way, then you're not doing your job. That's a good test to see how good you are. You go to somewhere, people are all like, crowd sucks. You go out there, your job is to make them not suck. Yeah, so that's how you test your skills right there.
Got to bring the full flavour in there when it comes to any place, any location. You've got to bring the A game.
Bring that
100%.
flavour. Hell yeah.
So back in the UK at the moment, we've got in September WrestleMedia Con happening. It's going to be a huge event. TNA Impact Zone are going to be there. There's a few others going to be there. Will you be there?
I will be there.
Yeah.
I will be there.
Excellent, guys. You better watch out and make sure you get over to WrestleMedia Con. It's going to be super huge.
Yeah, I mean, this is Impact's chance to come back to the UK, so we're coming back with a purpose. We're coming back to show the UK fans that we have not forgot about you. It's just been a tough time, and we're making our way back here. So, we're going to come back with a bang and show what this Impact, what the new Impact, what we're all about.
Excellent. Oh, that's cool. And Eddie, question is, were you on the last tour of the UK as well?
Yes, I was.
Yeah, I think I remember we saw you in tag team match.
Yeah, me and Davey wrestled Beer Money, and Davey unfortunately blew out his knee in that match.
Yeah.
But I mean, the UK tours have always been an integral part of Impact, So it's been unfortunate we haven't done in the last couple of years. They were always a great time. It was always a great time for us, the wrestlers, and the company to come over. And obviously, I think the fans enjoyed it too. So it's nice to be able to get back over.
There was a lot of UK talent at those shows. I remember the one in 2012. There was a lot of UK talent, and it was good to see TNA Impact Zone putting those guys on. And then also, you guys have got a lot of British talent within the ranks now.
Yeah, so it's a nice mix up. And when we come over here, like you said, you want to put some of the local flavor in there. You want to come over here and use the talent that's over, because there's no doubt about it. There's a lot of talent over here right now.
That's right, and good to have that crowd relation. They can relate to the people that are there. Their favourite British superstars.
Hometown heroes.
That's right.
Always good.
Nice. Eddie, I've got a few scenarios from classic wrestling that I'd like you to share your thoughts on. Now, some of these might not be the greatest moments in wrestling history, but I'd just like to see what you think about these. So, the first one is, what are your thoughts on the Shockmaster incident at WCW 1993?
Yeah, it's infamous. I mean, hey, that moment is going down in history. So, if you wanted to be in the history books, that's one way to do it. For sure.
Definitely one of my favourites and one of the most funniest.
Hey.
What also about, as a wrestling fan, I'm sure you grew up watching the sport as we did. So big moment for me was Stone Cold Steve Austin's heel turn at WrestleMania X7. What were thoughts on that one?
It's you never know how something like that's going to go, because Stone Cold, just a huge top babyface. So to see that, try to do that, it's anytime it's pulled off with success like that, it's a unique thing to see, and it's cool to see because it's such a flip of the script that a lot of people probably weren't very happy, and that was the point.
I didn't expect it, and I wasn't very happy. I was a very unhappy young guy right there. I was very unhappy, but good stuff. And a couple other people, places and things I could ask you about, Eddie. So thoughts in general on the current movement with particularly long pay-per-views, long shows, 5 hours plus, 3 hours. What do you prefer? What do you like? What would you prefer to watch?
3 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point it gets, it's a lot to take in for the fans. Yeah. It's a lot for the wrestlers, for the companies to put on long shows. It takes a lot out of you.
Yep.
And it takes a lot of the fans. So I think there's a happy medium. The 3 hours around there is a good place to be.
When you've seen a certain wrestling promotion's music video 3 times in one show, you really want to turn it off. No offense to anybody, but cool, blimey. That one is not my favourite. Excellent. And what about in terms of like past legends, let's say for instance, I'm a big fan of Bret Hart Stone Cold's match at WrestleMania. I thought it was one of my favourites of all time. Could you tell me like one off the top of the head favourite match of yours that just really cemented it for you?
You know, it's appropriate because we're actually talking about pro wrestling now and Japanese wrestling. Kenta Kobashi against Jun Akiyama from Tokyo Dome 2004 was a match that will forever be ingrained into my brain. Just the style, the way the crowd was. Tokyo Dome basically sold out. Crowd going wild for everything, for the GHC title. It was just, you know, like that emotion was there. It was just hard hitting. It was intense. It was what made me love Japanese pro wrestling and pro wrestling in general. That was one of those matches.
Excellent. Were you over there at the time?
I was not. I went over. I was there the next year. Cool. Yeah, but I was there I was there in spirit.
Nice. Excellent. Good stuff. Eddie, just a last question for you then. So moving forward with the Impact Zone, what's your goals? What are we aiming for?
Well, to destroy Sami Callihan and OVE and anybody that's associated with either one of them. You know, that's the main focus right now. And then outside of my specific thing is, you know, we want to help elevate Impact, take it to the next level, bring it back to where we were and go higher than we've ever been. You know, that's everybody right now. We're all on the same page, so it's an exciting time to see what we can do, what we can create. It's a unique opportunity, and we're going to make the best of it.
Nice, excellent. No, really good time. Good timing. 2018. It's a brand new year. We're rolling heavy right here. Eddie Edwards, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
Guys, you've been watching Media Spotlight. I'm Lozz. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you soon for the next one. Take it easy.